Our first article today comes to us from TheVerge.com. Microsoft Teams adds free communities feature to take on Facebook and Discord. So Microsoft is taking the best parts of Teams and packaging them up for groups and communities to use freely. And there was already a free version of Teams, right?
Yes.
But what is different now that I wasn't getting before with that?
All right. So there is a free version of Teams, and it's designed to allow you to do basic video calling and to access teams that are being hosted in paid accounts, right? So not really designed to be super standalone. I mean, you could do some, like, set up friends and do some basic chats and all, but it's not terribly fleshed out feature-wise. And a lot of that is because it was really Microsoft's response to the pandemic. So they rushed development on it, trying to get as many features in there as they could so that it could be a competitor with Zoom. They wanted people to be able to have meetings and invite people outside of their organization without the people outside the organization having a paid account. So that's where the free functionality came from.
But how much of that was just putting a new face on Skype? Because they own Skype, which was what surprised me so much when the pandemic happened. They're like, check out this new thing, as opposed to, you've already got Skype. You bought that.
You know, some Skype technology did get leveraged, but a lot of this is really built off of SharePoint. And Teams is really just putting a fancy face on SharePoint.
Interesting.
And the video conferencing was laid on top of it. A lot of that is new development. And they did leverage some of the intellectual property from Skype.
Is that why it's so slow and sketchy?
Well, the main reason the performance sucks on it is that it's an Electron app.
Oh.
And so most people don't realize that when you're in the desktop
I think
app.
you've said that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's
so,
in Azure, which is really...
I assume, yeah. So I've been curious now that the pandemic has kind of ended, everybody's gone back to normal. So is Microsoft going to continue cultivating this? And it turns out they are. And they are working on a major refresh of the Teams app. So a brand new 2.0 version of the Teams app that's designed to fix a lot of the issues that we have right now, especially performance. But they are continuing to develop their free offering. So, you know, there's services out there like Discord that a lot of people use. Now, do you guys use Discord?
I don't personally. I've been on a couple of Discord channels for
I'm
like specific things, but not, daily basis content.
All right. Well, I'm not a big gamer, but
that's probably why we don't get into Discord.
Yeah. Well, I use it to talk to my brothers and my nieces and nephews. Like they're all on Discord, so like that's how
they're not answering their phone. I'll get on Discord. They'll be there.
Hey, if I want to get a response from my little brother and I text him, I'd get a faster response in Discord.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that's a fact. So, so Microsoft is trying to basically get in on that space. And honestly, Discord, because they were focused on gamers, not really a professional service, a lot of people doubt whether they can leverage that in a business manner. Well, Teams will be able to step in and provide that, and they're doing a free community feature as direct competition to Discord. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
I predict, if we're not doing predictions yet,
go for it.
I'll just go ahead and throw one out there because I think this is something I kind of mentioned to Don before we started this episode. This will be the C2 traffic of choice for 2023 or whenever the hell it drops. As soon as it's available, you have a free communications channel that is probably not going to get blocked by a whole lot of ingress egress, right? Because it's coming and going from Microsoft. So thank you for, the free new way to start sending or exfilling my data from compromised systems.
I've never looked at Teams to see, like, does it have a fully featured API that you can interact with?
I don't know if Teams does, but even if it doesn't use an API, there might be other ways to do it just through like plain good old fashioned REST. Like
while you're looking at
using curl or whatever.
I want to ask Daniel for, using my role here as the idiot. What is you said a C2?
Yeah, command and control. So if I were to compromise a server in your network, I now need to have some asynchronous capability that allows me to have the exfiltrate data, to give it commands, and control the agent that's on your system to make it do X, Y, or Z. And sometimes that will mean, hey, create a synchronous tunnel that I can, interact in real time. But usually it's through some sort of like send a command and wait kind of system, right?
Gotcha.
And it's usually done through some channel that's not being monitored or can't be monitored and or blocked. So web traffic is great for that. DNS traffic is great for that because I need DNS traffic if I'm running a network. I need web traffic if I'm running a network because my users are going to be making web requests. And if they get nothing, then they're not going to do a whole lot of business. So that is the traffic of choice. And HTTPS is even better because it's encrypted, right? And you can use secure DNS and all sorts of great stuff.
So the messages are encrypted. So, because I see this being the new forum for terrorists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll be like, oh, we can ditch all these old things that are getting blocked because, they come up with ways to kind of IP addresses that are known and ways in which they see that they communicate. So try to create something unique that they can identify as C2 so they can block it. But now this is all new, so they'll have a new vector to go through.
I could see like some of the malware groups making use of this.
Yeah.
I don't think terrorists would really, because this service is ultimately controlled by Microsoft that is very friendly with government.
Yeah.
And
I believe when he said terrorist, he meant APT.
yeah. All right. That's fair. So Teams doesn't have its own dedicated API, but it uses the Microsoft Graph API.
Oh.
Which used to just be for reporting on like behaviors and things, but now the Graph API exposes a lot more functionality. So I bet you could leverage that in a way to communicate.
I actually thought of a way to use the VirusTotal API to do that, but it says in their terms of service, don't do that.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I'm not going to be a total
killing
jerk.
all the fun.
Yeah, and do that, but APIs are fun, by the way. Wherever my camera is. There's no tally lights.
Well, suffice it to say, Teams is going to continue evolving. In 2023, we'll see that new version drop. And Microsoft's all in. If you enjoyed that segment, be sure to check out our entire podcast available in the playlist right here. And you can always subscribe to stay up to date with the latest tech news and other happenings in the IT world. Be sure to tune in every Thursday for new episodes. I hope to see you there.